Today we're talking about common factors. Now, common factors, sometimes we need to find a common factor in order to add fractions. So this is just going to help you be a better fraction adder. But what we're going to do is we're going to be figuring out how to find common factors. So there are two words in the word common factors. The first one is common. It just means alike. Or it means also the same, if something is alike or the same. So if you have two numbers that are the same, that they're alike, they're considered common numbers. Factors are facts that go into a number. We're talking about multiplication facts, like 2 times 4 goes into 8. So 2 and 4 are facts that go into 8. 1 and 8 also goes into 8. 1 times 8 is 8. So those are facts that go into 8. And if I make a list of them, I list all of them, I've got factors. 1, 2, 4, and 8 are facts that go into 8, so they are considered factors. And usually you make a nice list of all the factors when you're trying to figure that out. Now, sometimes you need to find a common factor. So let me give you an example of two numbers. Let's say we're trying to find the common factors of 6 and 8. Well, first of all, we're going to list them. List the common all the factors of 6 are 1, 2, 3, and 6. And the factors of 8 are 1, 2, 4, and 8. Now what I need to do is I need to find common factors. And remember, common means alike or the same. So we're just looking for numbers that are the same in both lists. They're common to both lists. Well, I see there's 1 in both lists, and there's a 2 in both lists. So basically my common factors are 1 and 2. They're the ones that are in both lists. They're the common factors. Sometimes your book will ask you how to find the greatest common factor. They call it GCF. It means greatest common factor. And that's actually pretty easy because you just look at these two common factors and you figure out which one's the greatest one. Which one is the biggest? Well, 2 is the biggest, so it's the greatest common factor. All right? Now, let's find some common factors of the numbers 16 and 20. All right? So we're going to list all the factors first, the multiplication facts that go into the numbers. I start with 1 and I ask myself, does 1 go into 16? Yes. Does 2 go into 16? Yes. Does 3? No. So I'm not going to put it down. Does 4 go into 16? Yes. 4 times 4 is 16. Then 8 goes into 16. And so does 16 go into 16. Okay? 4 times 4 is 16. 2 times 8 is 16. And 1 times 16 is 16. So I have all the factors. Let's list the factors that go into 20. 1 goes into 20. 2 goes into 20. Does 3? No, so don't list it. Does 4 go into 20? Yes, 4 times 5 is 20. Does 5 go into 20? Yes. Now here's where I'm going to notice something. I've got a set of partners. 4 times 5 equals 20. Once you get a set of partners, you don't have to keep asking yourself, does 7 go into it? Does 6 go into it? Does 8 go into it? Does 10 go into it? Does 11? Does 12? Does 13? That could take forever. And you don't even need to. Because once you find the partners, you're done. You don't need to do that. You're going to waste your time. So I've got my partners. I just need to find all the other partners. 4 and 5 are partners. Let's go backwards. 2 needs a partner. Well, 2 times 10 are factors. So they're partners. Now I just need to go back and find the partner for this guy. He needs a partner too. 1 times 20 is partners. They go together. 1 times 20 are buddies. They're facts that go into 20. So I've got them all listed. Now remember, we're looking for common factors. Common factors are the ones that are alike. They're the same in both lists. There's a 1 in both of the lists. There's a 2 in both of the lists. There's a 4 in both of the lists. But there's not a 5 in both, there's not an 8 in both lists, there's nothing else in both lists. So if we want to list all the common factors, I'm going to say 1 is, 2 is, and 4 is, and the greatest common factor, the biggest one, is 4. So 4 is the greatest common factor. Now sometimes you can actually have the greatest common factor could actually be a really super small number. even though it says the greatest common factor. In fact, the greatest common factor could even be a 1. Now that sounds silly, but let me show you. If there are, let me give you 3 numbers. We're going to list the factors of these 3 numbers, and we're going to find the common factors of these 3 numbers. Well, what are the facts that go into 4? 1, 2, and 4. What are the facts that go into 8? 1, 2, 4, and 8. And the facts that go into 13 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. Now to find a common factors, the greatest common factor, they have to be common to all 3 of these lists. Well, I see a 1 in every single list. I see a 2 in 2 of the lists, but not in this list, so I can't circle it because it is not in all 3 lists. It has to be in every single list or it's not common. I see a couple of 4s, but I don't see any 4s down here. So I can't circle those because they're not in all 3 lists. So guess what? My greatest common factor is 1, and it's not even very great. It's a really super, it's one of the smallest numbers there is. But it's the greatest one because it's the only one that's in all 3 lists. Now, sometimes your numbers are going to get bigger. For example, let's find the greatest common factor or the factors for 24 and 36. Now these are going to have quite a lot of factors. We're going to list them all so you can see what the common factors are. We're looking for common factors, factors that are alike that go in to both numbers. So let's start making our list. We always start with 1. Don't start in the middle and say, oh, I know 3 goes. Don't do that. Start at the beginning. 1, or you'll miss some. 1 goes into 24. 2 goes into 24 because it's an even number. 2 times 12. 3 goes into 24 because 3 times 8. 4 goes into 24 because 4 times 6. Does 5 go into 24? No. Does 6 go into 24? Yes. Yay, guess what? Bingo! I found some partners. 4 times 6. I'm done asking myself questions. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to ask about 7 or 8 because it's a waste of my time. I already found my partners. So all I need to do now is find the rest of the partners. What is 3's partner? Well, it's 8. 3 times 8 go into 24. What is 2's partner? Well, 2 times 12 goes into 24, so there's my partners there. And what's the partner that goes with 1? 24. Now I have the whole list. I have not missed any. I don't need to worry about does 14 because remember I found all my partners. So I'm done. Let's do it for 36. Does 1 go in? Yes. 1 goes into everything. Does 2 go in? Yes, because it's an even number. Now Mrs. White knows that 2 times 18 is 36. But even if you didn't know that 2 times 18 was 30, you still know that 2 goes into it. How do you know 2 goes into it? It's an even number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 24. You keep going on the even numbers, you get up to 36, right? So any even number that ends with 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, 2 is going to go into. So 2 goes into it. Does 3 go into it? Yes. 3 times 12. Does 4? Yes. 4 times 9. Does 6? Does 5? No. Does 6? Yes. And guess what? I found a set of partners. 6 times 6 is 36. Okay, now there's nothing smaller than that. I get a 6 times 6 are partners. So we're done finding partners, okay? Because they're close together. There's nothing else. Like I don't need to ask myself about 7 or 8 because I already found 6 times 6. They go together. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to figure out what the next one is. 6 and I only need to list the 6 once. I don't have to put 6 times 6. So let's ask myself what 4's partner is. 9. What's 3's partner? 12. 3 times 12 is 36. 2's partner, oops, I forgot to underline it, is 18. And 1's partner is 36. So I have all the lists. Now let's circle the common factors. The 1's are alike, the 2's are alike, the 3's are alike, the 4's are alike, the 6's are alike, and the 12's are alike. So that's pretty tricky. That's a lot of common factors. The common factors are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And the greatest common factor, what would the greatest common factor is? The greatest common factor would be a 12. Now, listing those all out is a real lot of work, and I realize that. So sometimes Mrs. White has a fast way. Now, if they ask for all the common factors, guess what? You're just going to have to make a list. But if they just asked you for the greatest common factor, let me show you an easy cake way. I call it the cake way of finding the greatest common factor. And if they just ask for the greatest common factor, then you won't have to make out this big long list. That's a lot of numbers to try to list, and it takes a long time. So let's do the cake way. We call it the cake method because what we do is we're going to take these two numbers, 24 and 36, and we're going to kind of put them into a little, we call it a cake. Wait, let me make it a little lower because sometimes your cake can get kind of high. So I'm going to put these two numbers. Actually, it's going to look like a division bracket because that's what we're kind of going to do. We're going to kind of figure out what numbers you can divide these by. Okay? What numbers go into both 24 and 36? Now, we already know that the greatest common factor, we just figured that out. The greatest common factor is really 12. But let's say you didn't know that 12 went into those. Let's just say the first thing you could think of was 3. So you might put a 3 there. Oh yeah, 3 goes into both of those numbers. I do know 3 goes into both of those numbers. 24 divided by 3 is 8. And 36 divided by 3 is 12. Okay? Now guess what? I think that these two numbers, 8 and 12, can be divided again. So I'm going to put another division bracket on it. But notice it's going to start looking like a cake, like a wedding cake. See how it kind of looks like a wedding cake? Starting to go up. What goes into both of those? Let's say, 2 goes into both of those. 2 times 8 divided by 2 is 4. And 12 divided by 2 is 6. All right. Now, I think I can draw another cake onto there. All right. I can divide these again because 2 goes into both of those. 2 goes into 4 2 times, and 2 goes into 6 3 times. Now, guess what? I don't need to do a cake again because 2 and 3, there's the only thing that less goes into both of those is 1. And if 1 is the only thing that goes into both of them, you don't need to keep going up and making your cake higher. You're done. So if I want to find the greatest common factor, all I'm going to do is I'm going to look at these numbers. All the numbers that were on the outside of your cake, you multiply them together. 3 times 2 is 6. Times 2 equals 12. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. So you just multiply them all together, and that's your greatest common factor. Now, when you did this, you might have thought of something faster, okay? You may have, let's say you were doing 24 and 36. Let's say you didn't know that 12 was. I mean, if you know that 12 goes into both of them, guess what? You just go 24 divided by 24 divided by 12 is 2. 36 divided by 12 is 3. And guess what? Your greatest common factor is 12. So if you know your multiplication facts, you're going to find your greatest common factor a whole lot easier. Look how fast that was to find the greatest common factor. That's a whole lot easier than listing 1, 2, and all that stuff. So this is a really fast way. But let's say maybe you didn't know your 12s very well, okay? And let's say you start making your cake, and you make your cake for 24 and 36. Well, let's say you were a little bit smarter and you knew that 6 went into it instead of just the 3. This will be a faster cake, but it's faster cake than doing the 3. 6 goes into 24 4 times. 6 goes into 36 6 times. And then notice I can make another layer of my cake. And I can divide both of these guys by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 3. And wait a second, let me erase that. 4 divided by 2 is not 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 6 divided by 2 is 3. All right? Now if I can take these outside numbers, because these two are, I don't need to do another cake. I'm just going to get a 1 up there. So I don't need to do another cake. So I just multiply these two together. 6 times 2 equals 12.